Hello, I'm Kelly, and this is Kelly Loves Books and Movies. I just am out and about in the car because it is been a hot, fairly warm week, and I don't have any AC at home, and I work it from home, so got to be a little much today, and I decided to get out and enjoy some. I'm at Barnes and Noble again. I am going to go in and enjoy some nice air conditioning and have a nice cold drink and browse and bringing a book with me so I can sit in the cafe and read for a while. And there's also storms a coming, but well, we'll see. Anyway, this is the reader's profile tag, which I watched yesterday or the day before with Pat with from Book Chat with Pat and Renee from Beyond Books. I loved theirs, so I thought I would do that tag as well, since it's not quite the end of the month, so I don't have a summary yet for the month. All right. First question: What for you makes a good book? For me, I think it's just like an interesting story, something that hooks you, keeps you interested. Either the story or interesting characters that keeps moving along, doesn't, bog down in the middle. And also just plain, that was lightning, just plain something that, stories that that are like of a culture or people or a place that I know absolutely nothing about. That usually makes a good book for me as well. Second, what are you currently reading? I am currently reading Beartown, Fredrik Backman. Yeah, I am totally loving this, and I'm going to, when I'm done recording this, I'm going to go sit down and read more because I can't stop reading it. I'm reading a lot of books as I'm going along. This other one that I picked up at Barnes & Noble not too long ago, The Loneliness Files, which is very interesting. It says, because this just kind of hooked me. What does it mean to be a body behind a screen, lost in the hustle of an online world? In our age of digital hyperconnection, Althea Dixon invites us to consider this question with depth, heart, and ferocity, investigating the gaps that technology cannot fill and confronting a lifetime of loneliness. Living alone as a middle-aged woman without children or pets and working 40 hours a week from home, more than 350 miles from her family and friends, Dixon begins watching mystery videos on YouTube and listening to true crime podcasts, and these are just kind of essays there. But obviously, the living alone as a middle-aged woman without children or pets and working 40 hours a week from home, kind of like, gotta check that out. I'm also in the middle of reading Challenger, which is about the Challenger disaster, really starting from the very beginning of the space program up to the disaster. I'm also sort of reading a Jimmy Carter biography, The Outlier. I've been reading it forever, but I read a little bit here and there, so I'm counting as still reading. What's the last book you didn't finish and why? I don't know that I have completely given up on anything. I must have. I mean, I'm sure I have in the way back past, but right now I started A Court of Thorn and Roses because at surf camp this year, that's what all the younger meaning 30s, people were all about it and telling us how we all had to read it, and all of us older people that were like late 40s and 50s were like, maybe we should give this a chance. And I think we all have bought it. I don't know if any one of us have actually finished it yet. Maybe. I think we're all still reading it. I'm not going to give up. I got, I'm maybe 50 pages in and it's fine. But it's, other things keep coming up and that I really want to read. So I'll pick that up and put the other one down for a while. And then there's also a biography of John Lewis that I started just after he died. And again, I'm gonna finish it someday, but I don't even know. It's another one of those like really heavy biographies I really like, but I don't just sit down and read them cover to cover. I read a little bit here and there and then put it down. And that one, for some reason, I put down and I haven't picked up again for quite a long time. But I will finish it someday. What obscure book do you wish other people would read? I don't know how obscure it is. I mean, it's not obscure in my world, but it's pretty obscure probably to the rest of the world. And that's Giants in the Earth by Ole Rolvag. It's basically just a story of Norwegian immigrants coming to the Midwest in their lives, and that's basically it. And it's one of my favorite books. Very few people have read it. I don't think many people, and the people that do read it as part of like their college or whatever, it's in the Midwest. Outside of that, I don't know that many other people even know about it. What's the longest book you've ever read? Well, thanks to Pat with Book Chat from Pat, it's probably The Executioner Song. I read this way too young. I was probably, let's see, I think if it came out in 1980, I probably read it around a couple years after that maybe. So I was maybe 12, 13-ish when I read it. And it's apparently 1,136 pages long, and I can't think of anything longer than that. I mean, there's some John Irving books that are pretty long, but none of them are 1,000 pages. So that's probably the longest book I've ever read. And I don't remember a lot about it because, again, I think I was 12 or 13. I'm not really sure. All right, next question. If you could have a dinner party with 5 fictional characters, who would they be? Okay, I struggled with this one because I didn't know, do I just want them to be interesting to me? Do I want a wide group of people so that would be interesting to each other, so that there would be like good discussion? Kind of went with somewhere in the mix. First, I have Alexandra from Old Pioneers. She's kind of like my literary hero or whatever. That is my favorite book of all time. So gotta have her. I chose Renee Ballard from the Bosch novels because she's a fascinating character. She's a surfer, so I would be talking surfing with her like the whole time, I'm sure. I chose Ruth from Fried Green Tomatoes. She just seems sweet and caring, and I'm more of an Iggy, so would you not want Ruth at your party? Of course. And then I chose Paul from The River Runs Through It because especially if he looks like Brad Pitt, he can come to my dinner party. But also A River Runs Through It is one of my favorite books. He would seem to be one that really is the life of the party, and he would probably be fun to have at the party, at least for a while. And last, I picked Ranger from the Stephanie Plum series just because y'all probably got to have some eye candy. Probably not too talkative and chatty, but you got to have some of those around too sometimes. But really, Ranger has been included for the eye candy. All right. Next up, 5 books if you were stranded on a desert island. Also had a tough time with this one. I'm going to assume that I already have the knowledge and the things I need to know to survive, so I'm not going to choose like survival books or how to grow things books. These are just books that are going to keep me entertained in my time. First, Oh Pioneers, favorite book, so I chose that. And A River Runs Through It and Other Stories, because again, favorite book. I can read it a million times. I would be complete. I mean, yeah. I would read it over and over and over again and never get bored. The next book I chose was, it's maybe, I can't say the entire series, like the complete Peanuts cartoon series, because that's probably cheating, because, it's gazillions of volumes. But if I could do that, I would choose that, just because I would need some humor and some entertainment. But if not, I will just choose one book out of the whole thing, and that would probably be the book that covers, like, the 70s, and, yeah, probably the 70s era of the comic. And last, the other book, I would probably choose something in the Best American series. like the travel, like the best American travel writing or food writing or the short stories. I'd probably choose one of those just because, you know, you could read a little something different every day. And probably with my brain, I could, you know, read the whole thing over the course of a year, go back, start at the beginning, and I probably would have forgotten most of it. So it would be new every time. And then last, I am choosing Lonesome Dove because it's a book I know that I will love when I finally get to read it. But, you know, it is very large, and I don't always have the time or energy to devote to that large of a book because I know I'm going to get hooked to it. Yeah, there's a lot of lightning. Okay, I know it's going to, you know, hold my attention, and it's so long. If I'm on a desert island, I got the time. I'll read it. If I'm on the desert island, I could probably read it multiple times. All right. Next up, one book you cannot put down. Right now, Beartown is very hard for me to put down. Last night I was reading it and I'm like, I gotta go to bed because I gotta get up in the morning. But so I put it down, and then, you know, now I'm like, I want to get this recording over so I can go back and read this book. Otherwise, I'm always like the Stephanie Plum series. They're not always the greatest novels, but whenever it, you know, it comes out new, then whatever, you know, whatever number comes out, as soon as it comes out, I just will sit down. I don't start it till I know I have the time, and I will sit and read it in one sitting because you never know what's going to happen in those things. What kind of trouble Grandma's getting in, what Stephanie's going to get blown up, you know, what's going to get burned down. It's just chaos. What Lula's going to do. Those are books that when they come out, sit down, read it all the way through because I love them, even though they're not necessarily good anymore. Although, they're not bad either. They're fun. All right. 5 books or authors you will never read. I'm not going to say never because who knows? Wow, lightning. But I have zero interest in like Harry Potter or the Twilight series, so I probably will never read them just because, like, Harry Potter, I was already at an age that, you know, I was in my 20s when I came out. I didn't have kids, so there was no, you know, if I had kids at that time, of course I probably would have read them. But, you know, and now it's like, who cares, Harry Potter. Same with Twilight. I'm just not at the age when, you know, the target age when they came out. I was already older, so, and I'm just not a fantasy person in general. So if there is something fantasy I'm going to read, I'm probably going to read something like the Court of Thorn and Roses. Finally get through that series so that when I go to surf camp next year, we can talk about it. But yeah, nothing that I would say never, because you never know. If you were to write a book, what would it be about? It probably would be some sort of like that takes place in like the sports world or outdoors worlds, like some thriller or something, or some sort of like travel narrative. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, thanks to Pat and Renee for bringing these their wonderful tags and giving me the idea. And if you are watching this, consider yourself tagged. And I am going to go now, quick, before it starts to rain, and enjoy some air conditioning. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.